Hey, this is Jim. It is 8:07 p.m. in San Francisco, California on October the 12th. Please note that all discussions, analysis, and information presented are for general informational and educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial or any other form of professional advice. So it's been about a month since I did a video that I posted to up to YouTube, so I'm going to go ahead and upload this one when I'm done. This is the chart we were following prior to the whole CRS mess and everything else, but I'll review the whole thing really quickly. For people who are seeing it for the first time, it's a pretty busy looking chart, but you'll understand it once I run through it, and then I'm going to talk about sort of the tracking that we are seeing right now toward this $13 hidden retest. That's actually $13.25 hidden retest level, and then sort of timing for where I think we're going to head after there. So if you guys remember, we were tracking this up, down, up, stop running sequence here, and then attack of the speed line here, and all of that played out. We had different zones of strength and weakness here, and things were tracking nicely. Then the stock moved down again, and the series set up again. So we had another up, we had a down, we had this up. We were looking for stop running to happen here. We got the stop running, and then we had these zones of strength right here in the model, predicted zones of strength. And as opposed to this very sharp V bottom that we saw here in the run up to the speed line, we started up more slowly, and it was kind of this chopping grind. It did move up toward this zone of strength here, but then it aborted before it moved up to this. We had the 47.80 and the 51.50 hidden retest levels. So what happened was the move aborted, and then we had that second move down below that previous stop running low. The stock then turned around sharply and moved up toward this hidden retest level right here, that magenta line. And then on Judge Zern's rejection of the settlement agreement, this is where we saw the dynamic move up to retest this 47.80, which, pre-reverse split, that was $4.78. But I'll just talk in terms of the chart in front of us now. So we retested this 47.80 hidden retest and the 51.50. And what happened was on that Friday, when Judge Zern announced the rejection of the settlement agreement after the close on Friday, I believe it was July 21st, the stock ran all the way up to $88. It was $8.80. And then what happened was, so we, in other words, we did see this move up to attack this speed line, this blue dotted speed line here. And we got the overthrow that we were looking for. And then if you guys remember following me back then, what I expected to have happen was to move back down to the top of that speed line, build some kind of thrashing support. It also would have coincided with sort of resistance becoming support in this red downtrend line that you see right here, and then off to the races. What happened instead is we had that manipulation that happened pre-market on Monday, July the 24th, and that's part of the SEC whistleblower report that I filed. That's where we had those out-of-sequence trades you see that I note here. On the NASDAQ, we had one in particular, was 300,000 share out-of-sequence trade. What happened was they stripped that trading activity out of the tape on this Monday trading activity here, where the stock never returned up to challenge the Friday afternoon high. And what happened was, because they stripped trades out of the 7, 6.5, and the mid 7s, trades that were actually taking place the first 2 hours of trading pre-market on Monday morning, the 24th of July, that never showed up. They then took those trades, marked them as out of sequence, as I said, And then in the time and sales column, that's the headers called condition, they labeled them as out of sequence trades, and they started to go off about an hour and a half after the close on that Monday, July 24th. That's when you guys started to report on Twitter, seeing the wild thrashing trading activity between $5 and then $6.50 back down to $5, up to the low sevens, back down to $5. Those were out of sequence trades that these knuckleheads printed after hours. Typically what happens is you don't notice these out of sequence trades because they're within the sort of the range of the intraday trading. And so even though they do it strategically to strip buying demand out of the top end of the range, and again, the buying demand would in theory chew away at the selling supply, what happens is you never get true price discovery. So that was pure price manipulation, no question about it. And the reason they did it was because, again, early pre-market on Monday, July 24th, the stock started to run again and pressure the Friday after hours high. And if that would have been allowed to run, then it just takes off from there and would have caused a stampede and continued to track what the model was predicting. What happens instead is that after the stock is manipulated and beat back down off of that Monday day session high right here, the stock starts to recover, and then Zern approves the settlement agreement. The stock crashes. The stock tries to rally a little bit, and then in anticipation of the CRS, once Adam had all the dates identified, they hammer the stock, crash it again. It starts to try to rally again, and then Adam comes out and announces the 40 million share at the market offering, and the stock gets crushed down again. Then we see this trading range right there. That's where Adam Aron is basically selling the stock for, you can see the note down here, $8.14, which is the equivalent of course, 81 cents. So raised a relatively paltry amount of money in the grand scheme of things. Again, I'm really confident that the retail community would have been willing to buy the silverback silver coin souvenir, silverback silver coins, not offered through Highcroft, offered through the typical high volume dealers that are the most popular providers of souvenir coins, and purposely marking those up to provide a huge profit margin. We easily could have raised this much or more. We could have raised, I think, $500 million fairly easily from the retail community. We would have avoided all of this. So anyway, we play the hand we're dealt. And what we had at that point coming out of this basing pattern is this hidden retest at $13.25. We're moving up toward it much more slowly than really makes sense. For those of you who are pretty familiar with the way price action typically works, when you have this kind of a fast market decline here, you usually break out of this base and at least move just as quickly back up to this previous low. What happened here with us is just chop. It took absolutely forever. So assuming this continues to track, the forecast was to see a retest of this $13 level during October minimum. And then after some vibration on this hidden retest level here at 13, to see an attack of the 22 level, and then up to this 33, the 39.50, and the 44.50, all during the month of November. Keep in mind, all of these predictions were on the board and in place based on the data that was in front of me prior to Adam Aron announcing the Taylor Swift thing. And obviously, all of this stuff is timed out. Everything from Everything that you see here and here and here and here, preceding this, very bullish announcement and the concert. So, for those of you that were lucky enough, fortunate enough to have some money set aside to where you could actually add to your position, if that's what you and your financial planner decided to do, then good for you. For the people who were stuck in a tough situation and unable to add, those are the people that that's the reason I'm so mad at Adam Aaron and these guys. Anyway, assuming we can hit this 13 retest here within the next couple sessions, it's possible we could move up to this $22 hidden retest level. That's why I kind of left this sort of in between this target area and the November zone of strength that you see right here. I have no strong opinion on that. I really just need to see us move back up to this 13.25 hidden retest level and then go from there. But it wouldn't be out of the question to see that 22 again hit during October and then all of these targets during November. If it's not hit until November, then that may affect these targets for November. It wouldn't affect the 33. I doubt it would affect the 39.50, but it could push this 44.50 out. So we'll just have to see as the stock trades forward. At that point, assuming that tracks, we also have a big, powerful zone of strength during the first quarter of 2024. Now, assuming we can get all of the tracking to take place into November here, what that'll do in the anemoid terminal is that will completely repair the velocity. Remember, I've told you guys that when you have this kind of a devastating decline and the stock was taken, deep below the all-time low, it's like a person who's been in a car crash and they have their spine snapped. You have a broken back. You don't just jump out of bed and start sprinting. It takes a long time to sort of repair things and then slowly, walk and then slowly jog and run if you're fortunate. So that's what's going to have to happen during this whole process. But if that can happen and we can move up into these targets, any of these targets during November, then that's going to set us up to run at any or all of these price targets here. Now, I think what'll probably happen is, assuming we're fortunate enough to have this track into this zone in November and then start to track up into the first quarter of 2024, we're still going to have a really, really sticky, rough price level. I call it vibration in my work. Around the, I believe it's the 137 level. So it was the equivalent of 1370 pre-reverse split. So it's about 137. But if we can move up to that level, then I'll just have to look at the new data and figure out whether or not we're going to have to live in that area for, multiple months, 3 to 6 months, most of 2024, or if we have enough velocity to where we could start to pick off some of these other hidden retest levels right here. If you look at this, sort of 156 to 210 level, that's roughly where Adam Aaron pounced in August of 2022, split adjusted, so reverse split adjusted. So, I've always thought all along, if they were trying to allow the systemically risky portion of the short to be covered into this sort of devastating decline. And again, I thought they would slightly undercut the 30 level, $3, maybe, $2.80, which would have been 28-ish. I did not think they were going to do this to the stock. That told me that the short was probably much bigger than I ever imagined. And that's the reason they needed it to be both deeply underneath the old all-time low and then live underneath that old all-time low for a full month, because they needed Adam Aaron to hand them shares. And again, no matter who he sold those shares to, they easily could find their hands into the hands of and to be weaponized to be used for the shorts to cover. So, and by the way, Pedro mentioned a lot of times that if we don't see someone listing with a certain percentage ownership long, then that's a dead giveaway that that the shares were used to cover short positions. Anyway, once we start to move back up toward these levels, you know, I've thought all along that it would be Adam Aaron's intention to get the stock back to that August 2022 pounce level as quickly as possible, because, you know, he's taken a lot of heat, and for good reason. And just to save face, that's sort of where he needs this stock, you know, bare minimum. Not to mention the fact that now that, you know, a lot of Wall Street players are potentially long the stock, they're going to, even on a trading basis, want to also allow the stock to move up. I have been surprised at how stubborn this movement's been. I don't really know how to interpret that as far as who it is that's holding the stock back. I don't really have a strong opinion on that either way, but this did surprise me how stubborn this move's been so far. Anyway, it looks like we're going to get to this hidden retest level, and then we'll just figure out whether or not we can tag 22 during October, or if that's going to need to be moved over here into into this November zone of strength. That is it from my side. Hope everybody's well. I'm going to do a second video covering this bare knuckle fight that I'm going to schedule with Matt Kohrs, and we'll announce you know, the venue. We'll announce the charities. If the money goes to my rules are going to be you know, bare knuckle, no mouth guard, and then each of us pay our own medical bills, and the medical bills cannot be paid out of the donation that people make to the charity. It's 100% of the money. The tickets go to the charity, and if a venue would be expensive and eat into that, I'd just as soon do it, you know, in a field someplace, and save that money too, so that can go straight to charity. But I'll keep you guys posted on that. That's it from my side. Good luck.